Great Trinity, within your aged cast, while life unfolds, between two parts in each, beyond two parts in each, before two parts in each another holds. We flux and we flow, for passion keeps on standing. Oh, but no, we know great science is demanding structures, methods, and great ocean sky, while greater third still tempers each our eyes. Now a poet sees beyond and in between. Great vision guides my sight, for eyes will dream. Our sight, great vision guides our sight, for eyes will dream. Why? Three values I, three natures each die as one beyond, with will, as you. Be me then too. The mic connects then when we each are three ways, me and you, as one, the one unchanging, demonstrating to us actively. I forgot the rest. Great Trinity, within your aged cast, where life unfolds between two. See, I try to change is never right. Between two parts in each another holds, we flux and we flow, for passion keeps on standing. Oh, but no, we know great science is demanding structures, methods, and great ocean sky. A greater third till it still tempers each our eyes. Now, what's that mean? There's a Trinity. The Trinity is coming through as another nature, as a progressive nature of itself, as a part that's not already itself, but it's progressively, actively, as us, as life. And then as perception is also connected to what stays, which after the diffusion, which is called the identity, which is a nature working as another one, juxtaposed with the temporary bond of matter before all negative finite. So there is no negative finite to unchanging positive. There is no negative value nature, though. Inherent to the negative value nature, this is with the three natures of zero. And then it's through. And then once it's through, it still progresses as value here, or as negative value nature pushed from here. Leaf of Hades. And then Hades progressively. Heaven and hell, if we stay within the range. Earth is a correlation nature. Consciousness is its own nature. Now in the native dreams, in Hawaii, Haole Ma, they put the law against that because the geopolitical science, this is multi-front on linguistic fields and sabotage of human facts treatments in nature, willfully, not right, but beyond the discernment of everyone. Before nations were founded, not by accident. Everyone stays as all when we own everything. Who said the only thing to fear is fear itself? And what's left to stay terror to all areas, cultivating it, blaming it on the people already only realized hurt, sabotage. We understand interscience made colonization's terror laws, the ones that were distinctly to extort in reflection of the natures of terror upon the justices of the time, them being hurt conviction natures themselves, hurting others with the roles of it. Everyone's stuck that way with witch trials. In other words, in reflection of one nature of extortion for terror systems juxtaposed criminal enterprises, not by accident. Only let the modern nations only let the most sophisticated natures. We condemning natures, blaming this on the wrong things already, and not relying on expert leads that has conviction rates and treatments of the law and reaction nature to it only let realized, needed, and glorified in in linguistic fronts in relationship to the criminal re-engineering of ancient revelations. So we have great men that play roles with great evil they don't understand, right, as our leaders in every nation, and right as the bottom people up, right as our nation, at the same time, differently, but to the same ends, holding us from realizing the identity we are together, from its means. In other words, to say that both communism narratives and capitalism narratives are with and colonial narratives and counters to colonization narratives. They're all part of the same nature of organized crime uncharged. Nature of organized crime with methods, juxtapositions to its method, reliant upon its method, which is what we have. And it's also methods. When I say linguistic fields, now this opinion natures that are going to be honest are forcing only let realized, standardized, and justified, and even glorified treatments of facts and of argument, of difference in relationship to fights. That in other words, the whole elections like this, because of the way the position was only let realized, hostage into in relationship to what intercity, interstate, internation, international geopolitical sciences, what was stayed before them and as them in relationship to a method to stay predatory legal natures only let realized needed in self-defended needed to rely upon reactions to time impositions, reactions as retreat nature. Now, what's that mean? This is, those words. Like if we're in a boxing fight and we're fighting. Mayweather's like one of the greatest fighters. So if we're fighting Mayweather and we're retreating, right? Because he's attacking us now. If he's not doing, he doesn't fight that way. We need say we're fighting. What's his name? Forget it. Retreat nature. In other words, more in real life, we have all kinds of economic values locked down, and people's livelihoods playing a gambling game. Illegalized, but it's only through ours, with investments and reliance, and then people have to make treatments of facts in relationship to business standards, in relationship to morality that are lies, not by accident. In other words, all these things are leveraged tactically to exploit urban areas and tactically to exploit suburban areas linguistically in relationship to what the ancients understood and had revealed, because they didn't have criminal persuasions, especially not legalized criminally legalized criminal persuasions. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a police form. I'm not a criminal. This is what the religions. What we have to understand, the things that the religions are saying together, and we're not understanding the things they're saying together. For example, not to isolate. You have to make it on the facts. See, this is when people they want to attack. Have a physical enemy, which they'll always be the ones that are into time treatments and to substance treatments, and then self-defenses of that will perpetually stop them from beating the enemy that is with the words, with treatments of facts, with forcing science glorified as a name that is a predatory breaching nature tool, a weapon. That's exactly why we have these standards. That's all we have to realize is bottom up. We have the proofs. One proof is that they had terror laws to force, before they had cars, to force buildings and houses only built to these not completely safe standard, these models, denatured, and they had it for a pathology. Like in Hartford, Connecticut, they had slavery in Hartford, Connecticut. They also had this tied to the Underground Railroad and natures, in relationship to natures of organized crime, that the only let realized agencies' natures were only let realized, forced, shared, not to speak about, and not even understanding their own terror relationships with other nations, too, with slavery, other cultures. These were intercultural police that took over internation science, which originally knew that we were with a body of a species and the sexes, the Trinity. This nature is in demonstration to us always. And then Allah there are three natures of Allah, demonstrably. Now, this doesn't say this in the Quran, but it's implied that ancient sciences were criminally re-engineered. This is what the religions are saying together. And that means the only let sophistication is criminally re-engineered. And that means the only let intercity, all areas, only let criminally re-engineered. That means innocence, all exploitations of all ages of innocence, blamed on lies and delusions, glorified in relationship. So this guy says, everyone's family had hard times coming up, and in jobs. They want to push it through jobs. But see, they don't understand. Then they know we have juxtapositions of criminal enterprise, but then they're self-defending. I'm not even a lawyer. They're self-defending using it, lies and delusions attached to what criminal enterprises are and what they're involved with, and all the methods of extortion with this. They're maintaining evil positions, maintaining all areas in all natures of industries captive. This is how we begin this country's course, because we all lost to this, because it was internation. That's what it has, this cultural game. It has a minority of intercultural people who are blocking, consciously sabotaging our understanding to all ages of innocence, pretending for other reasons, not by accident, in relationship to the nature of lies that people have to tell at the street and act to pretend natures of, to pretend that once natures of mass evil are justifiable by the law, by free speech, by rights to religion. No, it's not by accident. The sciences have control of the religions and their persuasions, and all the insanity that gets brought into each religion, that the messengers demonstrably are trying to say that that's the education's fault. You know what I'm saying? They make when you make education about debatable things, then you have teachers as self-defense natures, to psychologies that are predatory, to ratiocination, to protracted correlation, into the abilities of people who have all the students are going to have conversations with people outside of schools, and many of them are going to have parents and people that are more honest than professionals, and by these, not by accident, but by methods through exploitations of all areas, maintaining predatory takes on people and on facts, offensively in relationship to a method having the branches self-defend roles with breaching with offensive database stack, evidence fact, illusion stacking, and database evidence stacking, and database witness witness fabrication systemically. This is a problem from the beginning with slavery, for example. And this conversation, when you have this conversation, it reveals, just what common sense does. When you see these stories about West Coast schools and East Coast schools with the gangs juxtaposed, and because they're blaming it on the wrong people. They're not having, when it's been that way so long, and because everyone's relying upon jobs and value system forged by terror, and that's with its nature. So when I want to play top-down, quick evidence pump games is only left shown, and they want to have zingers, and they want to have the other side. It's all the same thing. I mean, not especially with the vice presidents. We have to be able to. That's with this game. We need to be able to reveal the common agreements that our nations have that they're not allowed to talk about freely, because it's with their nature incapable of speaking for the religions, for common sense, for free speech, for the right to religion. You understand? In other words, we have expert lean that's predatory and not by accident with fact treatments. So I asked to make there are recorded proofs of interbranch actors, database stacking, offensively hiding it right now, insidiously, how they threaten people and what motivations are with that, to threaten people not to speak about recorded facts and threats. Like, in other words, the police too, they communicated in the Connecticut media and per the persuasions of the police forms together, and the database relationships together, and the relationships to the sciences together, and the relationships to that intercity through time together in relationship to phenomena with that called database stacking. That's what I'm calling it, which is phenomena with predatory fact treatments, with courts and with standards that take people that don't belong in jail and put them in jail. And what jail is a mass evidence fabrication. It's a terror system with the people there. They have, and if you go to report facts, they say you're delusional, and they'll punish you with drugs. And they just, because they're all writing lies together, orchestrated, telling them all the time. I'm not a lawyer, but and there's different takes on this word called misprision. But in other words, we have misprision with the prisons too, with the international prison markets. It's not just because money is not the persuasions. It's the nature of the truth. It's the law is captive. It's the only way to let trained relying upon expert lean. That's breach. There's a breaching method. So the media too, they have the conversations about these things, but they're not letting us have a conversation about known facts because everyone's self-defending roles. In other words, someone can't even report. In other words, people threaten my family, and the police were saying it's a lie, but they can't say it in writing because it's not a lie, and there's recorded proofs of it, like online. So. And there's proofs that they directed the media to tell lies and hide it, and to not say what I say, and to lie about what my family said, which they called to ask the story be corrected with lies in it, and with police families involved with murder threats, all kinds of. See, it's intercity. And they play a rumor game that has the nature of all ages of innocence exploited at once, from the elderly home. In other words, so it's in the narratives where we have the same sophistications in agencies that have only fake credibility too in relationship to this. So we have self-defense natures and perpetuate. In other words, we don't understand James Madison. Marbury versus Madison. We don't understand we don't understand the natures of organized crime that had terror theater upon him, logistics that he couldn't face yet. So we don't understand what we lost to. which is geopolitical sciences before it was with the prisons. And we're using them for terror methods. So with laws like slavery, and like with Joseph Mengele, with theater like that, and with the witch trials, these are on different levels to have in relationship to what people are gonna treat properly with time and with sociology, and with with not so with our social interactions. Under correlation, it's sabotaged because now here's back to the I forgot with the natives, for example. There's all different native tribes. We have to understand the division to them. First, in sequence, truth is a sequence nature, not just that way, but with time. Why do we need to relax? Because there's a nature of diffusion and demonstration to us always. But when we're not unchanging positive always, too, the way interstate we have extortions of the states, interstate in relationship to this too, and natures of organized crime that we haven't been allowed to address because of the nature of self-defense of lies and delusions only let. And that's tied to hurt conviction natures only let. So then this nature of logic only let, where everyone's fighting to be who's a better person, it's forcing it impossible to address the nature of organized crime here that has the linguistic trick of having everybody not be able to self-defend everybody self-defending their roles not being hurt conviction natures. In other words, when civil rights people, millions of us, need to say things and make distinctions, we're not being allowed to do it because of top-down lies and delusions of forced glorifications. So the proofs of science are not being let, and predatory science is being forced in multi-front. So it's not the media. Then if you attack the media, they're defending this for advertisement, in other words. And then the advertisement has everyone's not allowed to speak facts. So which is what the bottom up. That's what freedom is about. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion is to show how the terror that we negotiated with and our leaders were afraid to speak about how they kept our modern leaders, us, only inherited to predatory opinion natures of their own legal natures, of their own agencies. In other words, we have interagency roles recorded in relationship to the facts, tied to the extortion of the methods of the free speech and of entrapment methods of the free speech of both of our candidates. And I agree that Donald Trump would be a worse victim to this. And I agree that business the Constitution cannot be defended as a business, and not without defending this first, which was not only not defended, it requires understanding how everyone has only been allowed to glorify her conviction nature, juxtaposed with judgment in relationship to morality, in relationship to finite treatment of facts, in relationship to body of value facts, in relationship to justifying the presence of the radical, of unchanging positive where it is not, and in relationship to multi-front exploitations of the lies told top down by the law, like that, like not. In other words, we have not only with our schools, for example, we have not only incomplete legal nature only spoke, but we have all kinds of multi-front invested exploitations of them, not only in relationship to business and things on paper, but to methods, to the maintenance of holding everyone to mass roles of even fighting with each other and joining to each other with nonsense. For example, with cultural stuff, nations and cultures are for correlation nature of the invisible. That's why we are the same body. When something's not positive to our whole body, it's not. If we take that as our, that's only negative value nature is only a temporary demonstration of what is actively in demonstration to us. So we have to understand how the positive bond to matter comes before negative value nature. So once that negative value nature goes, once that positive bond is gone, the negative value nature stays gone. Just like once the consciousness diffuses from the body, it stays gone. This is demonstrated what the ancients taught and revealed the sciences as one body, as one act. Not the industries. This was engineered to have it in relationship to this wealth. In other words, designed to have it entertained. Because then what do you have entertained? Her conviction natures, evidence fabrication natures. And we have only realized entertained theater, industry marketing theater. And then that self-defending. And then everyone only fighting about who's right, and that, in other words, too. That's worse than just what that has legal nature ties to methods of evidence fabrication, cover up, and needs to it that we left unaddressed since before our nation's founding, and with its roles uncharged with known but unrealized intercommunity. Intercampus, interstate intercampus, internation intercampus, and international intercampus, interscience, internation. Evil propagation, evil cultivation methods, breaching organized crime, called archetypal organized crime, the proverbial devil, criminally re-engineered ancient revelations to exploit them perpetually. So first we must understand these ancient revelations. We must understand diffusion. Allah is unchanging positive. In other words, in the Trinity, what are these religions trying to say together? That without adding what they're not saying. And then so we can defend from what is forcing that interpreted with passions that are attached to street and to legal nature, justifications of that. Now, reliance is upon that with the treatment of the nature of facts. In other words, with roles, with why we have predatory religious people forcing ill convictions with religions in relationship to all areas, an organized crime method that we have uncharged and blamed on lies and delusions glorified. With those only let's standardized lies and delusions juxtaposed with American history, summary convictions, predatory, maintaining predatory convictions, unrealized blame, and blamed on other things, on other lies and delusions. And that's self-defended through the only realized natures of everybody. We have a nature of a human nature captivation system, a human nature breaching system, then one to all areas. And that's the one, by being first, that maintains all areas to roles only that realized, ending up having to cover up what they didn't realize they would have to, because they've been evidence exploited since they were kids in relationship to this education. This is nonsense. We don't have, and it's not just nonsense. It's not because of something that, in other words, when we treat this, we have to fight where every single front, every single science has leaders and has executive natures that are going to come and fight With people who are going to step into these fields on left, because it's in relationship to what they need to keep going with business. So we need to enable ourselves to be able to reveal common sense, protraction, correlations, protraction free speech, protraction against predatory convictions, entrapment methods, too, in relationship to database stacking. And, why they don't let people report crimes that the laws tell them they're supposed to. But then they don't say, and they get away with that because they don't put anything on paper, so you don't know what their counter is. They just tell you don't come back, and they made up lies to cover up what they entrap themselves, affecting people with confessions to me. I didn't try to explain this to them, so they try to make me talk about it by making a mistake or saying something that they can interpret wrong, and then just convict with fake information. They're convicting innocent people consciously. In other words, too, with rackets they have with prisons in relationship to motivations for great evil with our modern legal natures. Allah's reception to rank and to exploitations peripheral to the top-down justifications of ill standards of the innocent and even of the guilty, and because of using all areas kept before they even realized with the sciences at the same time to keep everybody time imposition, retreat nature, too many impositions at once, letting expert lean that is predatory, not letting the finite work. In other words, the real law, what it says, especially like in exploited areas. You take the campus, and they own that, but you expand the education. We just keep it simple. We drop all the theory. In other words, what they want people to experience other people's opinions. This is the exploitations of all ages of innocence. This is the gun problem. We have predatory intercity campus connections with the police, attached to the drug problems, attached with medical healthcare criminality, where there is none. There are fields of healthcare that are needed where there's no professional, there's no common people, there's no people that are not involved with rackets and evidence fabrication, natures and roles and lies and delusions, name forgeries. We even had this with 9/11 per recorded proofs, but we can't have it reported because we have our natures with that, our natures of police with criminal acts in relationship to a sequence that was used that's used to keep to keep our homeland actors with needs to cover up lies that are for other countries, for other needs for to have their own lies told by people here, to have the people of our nations stay breaching nature terror roles, criminal insidiousness roles, good people doing little things that they would no one ever realizes the motivations for it or the connections to it, because everyone's only realized expert lean. In other words, not real facts, protraction, only the right to make expression, not to have in other words, not to debate predatory moral convictions in relationship to database stacking, not given the time, and when they have terror roles with the prisons. This is exactly why we're connected to. It has to be. It's the most logical connection between Joseph Mengelé's experiments. That's not natural that an army is going to go want to do sick things like that. And you're not going to gain. There's nothing that's looking to gain for human understanding like that. That was expert lean it was worse than what they call mission creep. With them saying it wasn't about money either. That's with our own roles sabotaging people who need to demonstrate, because then all these mass opinions that fight with each other, they all share blaming things on money, like the connections between the agencies, the German agencies and the American agencies, and the Israeli connected legal natures, and the African connected legal natures, and all the internation police sharing the market position where they police it together to all areas. So they're sharing positions here while we have people extended abroad. So when they have these problems with like Hillary Clinton and they're attacking her with these things, but we know there was all lies juxtaposed to it, and they're never going to be able to get the truth. The only way they can get the truth is not if they put physics first. You have to put the truth first, and then reveal who's telling the lie. You know what I'm saying? So because now they have, in other words, that's why the agency said that she didn't do anything wrong, because they're the ones telling them to lie. But this is in conjunction with time impositions, retreat nature reactions necessary to counter only let realized threats in relationship to all that left forsaken with our actual impositions to all areas. So this needs new terror groups. You see what I'm saying? This which had maintained terror groups known criminal enterprise juxtaposed to all areas, punishing their victims more to keep for evidence fabrication roles with the branches to all areas, with the campuses used intercity for unfathomable, methods through sick natures of healthcare that of exploiting all ages of innocence through and while they're doing those things with all the stages for other reasons. In other words, we don't have. That's why it's so important to understand when people ask to make a complaint. I'll tell you, the people, they threatened me not to make a complaint. They won't put anything in writing. They admitted they put fabricated things in writing. Then I called up CCO and told them I want my money back. I don't know what so then they went even more, and then they had to tell more lies in the background. God knows what they're doing. You know what I mean? I know